I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Happy Monday. Do you have a case of the Mondays?
Not at 11 o'clock, we don't.
Nope, we do not. Not at 11 o'clock.
How many cups of coffee have you already had this morning?
This is my third.
Oh, wow.
And my cups are big.
And this one
I
you
got
can
big
actually
cups.
see through. This one's not that dark, so it's not that strong.
No, by the time I get to the third one of those, it just lightens up a little bit. So, okay, so let's just jump right into this because Google's pissing people off, man.
I know. I just found
I don't
that.
mean kinda.
Yeah, so what they're doing is they just came out and basically SensorVault is a database that they're allowing the U.S. Law enforcement and forces to actually go in and see where you've been by your location data,
right?
And also to trace people. And it's supposed to be data that's used for ad targeting. So the database is otherwise maintained to collect users' information from Google products for ad targeting, contains detailed location records from hundreds of millions of phones from around the world, and they're allowing the U.S. law enforcement to actually tap into that, narrow down on who they're looking for by the locations, and then prove that you were there, and then going out and arresting you.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah.
Oh, and by the
no more
way,
trips to Krispy Kreme.
Nope.
Yeah, no, we'll always get a Krispy Kreme. So, by the way, if you're trying to watch on Facebook, but you're watching on Facebook, is having some, but still, Facebook is having major problems.
Yes, they are.
Oh my God! Well, they were down this week. So anyway, let's go back to Google. So you're telling me that we have been being tracked, and now all of a sudden, they're just giving our data away. No subpoenas, no nothing. They just walk in and say, "Give me the data," and they go, "Okay."
Well, even before the show started, we were talking about this, and then I'm looking through the online news report for it, and they're not even saying that they're getting a subpoena to get this data.
That's what I'm saying.
They're just
walking
turning it
in.
over.
Here you
Yeah.
go.
Hey, we need this for this, and here we go.
That's kind of. Oh, I owe $1.
Oh,
Jeez.
I owe $1. Gosh.
so
Come on.
it's.
No,
I'm trying to find where it said it, but their answer to it was basically that they don't give it to the law enforcement until they have narrowed it down to a specific person. So, in other words,
But still, even I don't care if they know exactly who the person is. Shouldn't that be that's breaking confidentiality of?
yeah, because it says right here, the search engine giant ensures the information obtained through the database is anonymous and that it reveals specific information only after the police have analyzed and narrowed down the devices and which would be relevant to the investigation. So how do you know if you don't know that? Okay, if you're a person of interest, right? Adam's gone out and stole some stuff from John, and he's the person of interest, right?
Damn
so
Adam.
he's damn Adam.
Damn Adam.
Damn Adam.
How do I know that? How does the cops know that this is his phone right here without getting the personal information up front? I mean, how can you track it that way? There's no way to do it. That doesn't make sense.
Does not make any sense.
And then you brought up a good piece about the Apple phones that use the Google data.
Right.
Okay, so go ahead and jump in that one because that's your field.
Usually, most of the services when you have it, when you buy stuff through the App Store, to be in the App Store, some of the information, they sign an agreement saying they're not going to share your user data out there, and that's one of the agreements between the App Store, the provider of the App Store, Apple, and the developer.
And the developer would be
developers
Google.
out there, yeah, and the developer being Google, goes out there and erroneously, shares your data and stuff, I mean, where does, do they get knocked off the App Store because they're not, not doing what they're supposed to, or
Right.
or do we just keep, just ignoring it and look the other way, who's supposed to play by the rules?
Because that was one of the big things that the Apple rolled out is the whole security side. We will not share your data. We will not share your data. So if Google is still tracking through your iPhone and giving that to whomever, that's giving that's
because it says what device you were on, and it'll say it'll say iPhone. It'll say, and the name of the phone.
I wish we had a lawyer that was on the show or somebody we could contact, because I'd love to find out what this statement here kind of sounds very fluffed in as I keep reading down, because literally we found this morning right before we went on the show here.
Right.
It says, before officials could use Google's database for investigation purposes, which contradicts what it said up top, right? They require a geofence warrant that specifies an area and a time period that helps Google gather information about the devices that were available in the specified window. So,
but how do they know that?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I could understand from a law enforcement piece, I'm investigating a crime that I don't have someone for.
Right.
And, okay, the bank was robbed at 11:30 on Tuesday.
Right.
We want to know all the phones that were within, say, the geofence of the parking lot, right?
Right.
And inside the building. That I can understand, right? And then getting a subpoena to get that data is fine. But is it a violation of my rights because you're not coming to me and asking me, hey, can I give this data up?
Right.
Not only that, but what if your aunt's uncle's nephew's cousin signed into Google services on your phone,
Yep.
and you were in the general area? Who are they looking at? Are they looking at him, or are they looking at the person who signed into Google services? I mean, it's not everybody uses the same device, and not everybody knows to sign out of that particular account.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll have my wife's account signed in, I'll have my account, and then on Gmail I have 10 or 15 client accounts that I'm signed into that I have to monitor for now.
No, he's not
just
bragging. He's just setting himself up for failure.
Yeah.
You better hope nobody does anything wrong on that. 15.
There's 15 people out there who could go do something that I'd be in trouble for.
Yeah. You ain't kidding, man.
But yeah, this is a big issue, and I guess they're coming under fire as this is coming to light this morning with the New York Times and everybody jumping on board to put this story out. And it's called Sensor Bolt, if anyone wants to look it up and find out what we're talking about this morning.
Sensor, like SENSOR,
Yes.
BOLT.
Yes, all one word.
Sensor Bolt.
Data. Yep.
Bolt
Data.
or Volt?
Volt, like the car. Volt, like a bolt of lightning.
VOL.
Yes.
Victor.
Victor.
And today we are
Lima.
studying how to
Tango.
spell.
Spell.
Well, I thought he said bolt, as in
Bolt.
B-O-L-T.
How you say it, bolt?
Volt.
It's that southern slang
Bolt or
getting on you.
bolt?
It is. I'm telling you. I can't. I just can't, man. I just can't.
Oh, it's Monday. What can we say, guys? What can we say?
But yeah, so we had other stuff because I'm back on my rant about people becoming cinematographers that have they just don't have no clues, no clue at all.
Oh, come on. They got a camera, though. Come on. They just went out
That's
and bought
exactly
a
what
camera.
Okay, so we did a con this weekend. Yep. That's right. We
did
were
a
at con.
con? Who
Fusion
did you con this weekend?
Fusion Con was this weekend,
Con.
right? And a young man, nice young guy, came over. We had our, we had our big camera out there. We had the big boy was out this
Young
weekend.
man.
And he, oh my. Yeah, he might be staying there. You never know. I don't know. His wife was pretty hot. And he had a kid. So, but yeah, he got drawn to because of the camera. He came over and he says, "I said, yeah." He goes, "I love that. It just drew me over here." And I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what do you do?" He goes, "I'm a cinematographer." I'm like, "Really?" So the first thing I asked is, I said, "Well, so what have you produced?" "Nothing."
All right.
Because I have stuff on YouTube. I said, "Oh, so you're a YouTuber?" "No, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a cinematographer." You just drove that cinematographer word home, right? I'm like, okay. I said, "Well, if you haven't produced anything," I said, when you produce, are you going to film?" He goes, "Huh?" I'm like, "Are you going to film?" "Well, no." I said, okay, so what are you going to do it for? He goes, I want to make commercials and stuff like that. I said, then you're not a cinematographer. And I said, you're not going to film. If you're not going to film, I mean, guess you're shooting 24 frames a second. Well, of course. Why? The digital world doesn't only want 30 frames. They don't even like 60 frames a second. It's too much for them. Well, 60 frames is he goes, 60 frames is slow-mo. I was like, no, 120 plus is slow-mo. He just kind of looked at me and he goes, I said, so you're never going to go to film. You're never going to go to the big screen, and even that's digital now. So he goes, no. I'm like, then you're not a cinematographer. You're a videographer. I said, you went and bought a camera. And no one's ever taught you how to use it. I said, have you even took a course on how to use your camera? No, but you know what? And that's just, he goes, he went and bought an 80, which
nice camera,
big boy money. Now he's going to a 5, and I'm like, he goes, why? He goes, well, it's full sensor. I said, so you've outgrown the 80. What do you mean?
Without ever learning how to use it.
I said, you're going to a better, more technically advanced camera, but you've not outgrown. You're not doing work that's beyond the camera you have now. Yeah, but it's not a full sensor. It doesn't matter. I can make an iPhone be cinematic, right? If I composition it right and I light it right, and as Rob says, because I want to be a cinematographer, I have a light meter. That's the #1 tool a cinematographer has, is his light meter. Because if you don't know how, if your lighting's not done, your composition's not done the right way. So, people, I'm just going to say this very sweetly, very nicely. Unless you go and get edumacated on your camera, and edumacated on your software, and edumacated on how to set your shots up, you are not a cinematographer. You're a guy that likes to shoot video. And the first video this kid's ever done was probably him and his wife. That's it. So I'm just saying, let's be real here. Go get some education and get some years under your belt, and then you can call yourself a cinematographer.
Well, John, that goes back to one thing. If I'm going to call myself a cinematographer, the last thing I'm going to do is come to you and say I have an ADD. Because what's the major problem with all DSLR cameras? 20 minutes, you're done.
Right.
That's
well,
it.
you know, and here's the thing, and you know, and because I rail on the DSLRs, I do. But Rob has I love Rob. He puts me back in my place every now and then which I need it done. Any real true cinematography, the shots are no more than what, 5 minutes. Right, Rob? I think Rob was telling me the average shoot. I'm not a cinematographer. I'm a videographer. Mm-hmm. That's what I am. I use video. I don't shoot nothing but long form. So short form stuff is not what I want to do. Now I'll do commercials and we'll do short form shoots there. You know, just small shoots. But the bottom line is, you can have an ADD, or you can have a 5 Ti, or you can have whatever they're out there. I don't even know the DSL on it because I don't take my time to learn crap that I don't need to know about. Right. But even if I was shooting on a Red, okay. If I don't know the camera,
you don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
Right.
There was a great post that Rob shared out a couple of months ago, where all these guys get hot and excited about all this new gear, and they don't know how to use the gear they have. So, I don't know. Get some education.
Yeah.
Stop trying to learn everything on YouTube, because typically they're only giving you that much of that window that you need to see.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you know enough to be dangerous. And what really bothers us is then you have guys like that running around doing stuff for like $100 that should be way more money. They're killing the market.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I understand that. And you know, this last week I had to shoot, because we didn't have any other cameras available. I had to shoot some video on the DSLR.
I made fun of you.
But it's a straight on shot, and it's a very simple.
This client kept taking it off. So he goes, I don't want people to think there's a problem. That's not a problem. I just make it fun.
So we have to, you know, you have to understand where the limitations are of the hardware and what the uses are for. I don't like shooting with my camera because, one, it's hard on my camera because your sensor heats up and you're just taking the life out of it. So I don't really care to do it, and I don't want to do it with that camera.
No.
You know, there's a difference. These, like the cameras that we have in the studio here, they're made to run and to shoot for 20, 30 minutes, an hour long, and not heat up, because they're built that way.
Right.
Your DSLR is built for that, and that's it.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were never meant to be
freaking picture camera.
Exactly. So if you're gonna be calling yourself a cinematographer,
You better be
It's
coming here
okay
going,
to
I'm sitting on a
have one.
Panasonic.
a JVC or Canon.
No, I mean, when I see the big Panasonic. Hey, Rob will find that. What's the big Panasonic reel-to-reel, the real film? He'll tell me in a second in my ear. But
the thing is, like, it's okay to have a DSLR in your pack.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
But
Ari's good. Blackmagic has some good cinema cameras. But when you come and go, I got a Canon D80 or whatever it is, I'm like, oh, you take pictures.
Yes.
You just throw some moving pictures in there with it.
and
That's-
cinematography should be like multiple cameras. I would think you would have
Well, believe
know,
it or
a couple
not,
of different
I think
shots.
Rob will back this up. A lot of times, even the big film, even the big movies, they're only running two cameras, two big boy cameras. They may shoot some B-roll stuff on the side with other stuff, but typically there's one monster camera, and then there's a backup camera. Because back in the day, when we were when we were actually shooting film in the beginning, back when I was old or younger. I'm
back
old
when
now.
he's old. Now he's 18.
Well, here's the thing: you had to have your shots listed and timed, because if you run out of film, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Because with your budget set for this much film and you went and bought that much real film, you don't waste. You don't go around, well, we'll just shoot this just in case we need it. Because you'll run out of film. And if you're on a set somewhere to go get another, now you've just cost yourself thousands of dollars a day having someone have to go get a reel.
But that was the back in the day when you had to be a real visionary to do video. I mean, because
No, there's some pretty
editing
shitty films out there. They weren't visionaries and they were on film.
well, yes,
so.
they were. But to do a good film and do a
they
full
stayed
motion
under
link,
budget.
come on.
Yeah, no one's ever stayed under. I don't think everybody's ever stayed under budget.
But think about like how much work went into it, the editing process. I mean, for a good motion movie picture that had, an hour and a half to 2 hours into it, how much work went into that, and how much you had to know beforehand, because you don't just snip a piece out and back in the old days and go look on the floor for a piece to put back in.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I lost the whole scene.
Yeah.
Kids nowadays don't understand the workload that you had back in those days before the digital world came about. Because
And see, audio was the exact same way.
Yeah.
Before I remember in 2000, 1998, I was still recording on ADAT because computers didn't exist for it. Well, they existed, but they sucked.
Right.
And they weren't ready for multi-track editing. It just wasn't there. So we were still splicing and cutting and recording and right over this, and then you have a rack of outboard gear so you could do your effects and that was all done manually. That wasn't done by computers.
So what did y'all used to do, like back in the tape deck days? Did you actually cut tape and stitch it back together to get it right?
Yeah, I mean, my first job
I've always
ever
been
was a
interested
duping
in that.
engineer, and that was my first job out of college. I got hired and they put me in there, and after they tracked all the master would come to me. I would dupe it. I would take that master, put that master away, and then they worked off the dupes. I mean, it was just like having a master. There was no loss. Maybe a dB. But
So you would just go in and be like, okay, I want to stop it here, cut it, take it through, and cut it again.
Or that's one way. Some people were doing it that way. Some people were. It was a secondary recorder.
Okay.
Right, and then and we could tape to. So you would go in and it would just constantly add a new layer, add a new new track, and then you go back and
That's really cool.
That's
See?
the way to do it. It's a hard way of doing it, but you had to set ins and outs on the board, and the JV. Look at there, yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Awesome.
VHS. Let's go back. Let's roll that over, and you'd have 3 or 4 decks, and all the decks would feed one deck. You'd play this, and then you'd go and add this and this deck, and then or like with film, it's true cutting. and cut there, and you got to find that cut where you can join it and make sure you don't mess the spool, the little spline. Oh, it's just, it was hard,
Yeah.
So
We think that Adobe Premiere stuff's hard. That's the hard part. Man, nowadays,
that makes
everything's
the world
flowing.
Well, and here's the other thing too: is back in the day, they when we have been shooting. We've been shooting beyond 8K since the 20s, right? Because when you shoot true film, you're way beyond 8K. And back in the days, in the black and whites, and the old howdy doodies, and all that kind of stuff, that was all done to film. So those films were, I can't off the top of my head remember what the new 8K is, but we were shooting beyond that anyway. We had to dumb everything down to make it where it would fit to screens and televisions. Like even some of the Carol Burnett shows, the black and whites on television, those were shot in 8K plus. They shot it because they were shooting 16 millimeter or 8 millimeter back in the day. Well, 8 millimeter is beyond digital.
Yeah, that's why I used to get this film has been formatted to fit your television.
That's correct. That is correct, because
just in case you want to know why they said that.
And if they ever kept, if they kept the masters, big studios would dupe their masters, and so the masters and those. So, but film after a while will degrade. Period. But if you can find a good, clean, old film canister that's got films in there, that's beautiful stuff. I mean, beautiful stuff. So I love the fact when everybody gets all excited about, we're going to go to 8K. We were 8K century ago.
Yeah, but where are you going to broadcast it at?
Nobody can see it.
I'm going to go buy me an 8K camera.
Let's get off of film and cinematographers that are wannabes and the whole 9 yards. It feeds over to your world too.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you get all these kids that they go online and they go and they help mom out or dad out, and they fix the computer, and dad says, well, I got some computers in my office that need fixing. Well, next thing you know, the kid's calling himself an IT tech. I'm IT. Really?
Yes.
What level? What do you mean, what level?
Level of wipe and reinstall.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to the two young kids, well, not kids, well, anybody younger than me is a kid. And they came to the con, and he was a level 2, oh my God, a level 2 IT, but he dealt with forensic data recovery for a company. That's what he did. And that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's like 2 more levels, but even saying a level 2 is like, holy crap. You're kind of the real deal. He goes, a little bit. I'm like, why are you working for a company that always crashes? I'm just asking. He goes, you don't want to know, and it was for Boeing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not right.
You don't want to go there.
That's not right.
Hey, so what's up with Microsoft?
Oh, well, if anybody's received a nice email, I would advise everybody to just go ahead and change their Outlook.com email password, just in case.
So what's going on with them?
Well, they've just admitted that hackers had access to a number of emails in their Outlook.com service from January 1st until March 28th.
No way.
Yep. So not only were they able to access emails, they were able to see all the headers of the emails, at times read the emails. They had access to all the data stores. So if you save
but wait a minute, my Outlook has encryption on it.
Yes, two-factor authentication, and they still were able to get in.
So, and why do we?
No one will ever
Outlook?
get my stuff ever. Yeah.
So
why do we tell people never to use Outlook?
Yeah. So if you do use the Outlook.com domain name, if you have my new business at Outlook.com, you might want to go ahead and change your passwords just to be on the safe side, because obviously somebody has something interesting on you.
Does this include the mail? Was it Microsoft 360?
Now they haven't said anything about Office 365 and the physical domains and stuff. Of course, if they said anything or admitted anything on that end, they would basically be putting themselves out there saying, hey, our stuff's not very secure. Yeah. So I don't think they would. Right now they're saying it. They're saying that this only is affecting people that have the Outlook.com.
Oh, okay. The Outlook.com servers are what run the emails for Azure
But
and everything, right?
Anytime,
I was gonna
yes.
say, isn't
Yeah,
that
it's
all
all
ours?
one.
It is all, but
So they're just trying to save face right
But if you
beside
can
it.
get into that, you can get into the other.
They can get it, yes. And a lot of times, too, remember, if somebody has, your Outlook.com email address, a lot of times people also use that to sign into their computers, which means that they also have access to...
Huge data breach.
All they have to do is sign into another computer with those credentials, and now they sync up all your web, saves, website, auto logins, if you saved all your passwords.
Oh my,
there.
oh my.
Everything comes over just like Google.
What's up,
or
Nicholas
something like
Stallone? What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? I
So
love it when
that's
people
not
ask, what's
good.
up?
that. Sup.
So is there going to be is there a fix? Is there a
Supposedly they've
new encryption?
fixed it. And I don't think that there's any new encryption. They're not going to say what they've done. They'll just say it's fixed.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
it's fixed.
It's fixed.
So-
Don't worry about it.
But
It's all good.
don't trust anybody else. Go ahead and change your passwords. Just do it. I mean,
So how often do you tell people to change their passwords? This is a very interesting talk
truthfully
for people.
changing passwords, depending on what field you're in. I mean, if you're in finance or doing mortgages or anything like that, I'd be changing my password every 30 days at least.
30 to 60 days?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, 30 days. I've seen people that realtors that have had situations where their emails were hijacked and hacked. They were logging in through POP or IMAP, and then basically somebody else, if they had POP on theirs and they had IMAP turned on too, somebody else was logging in through IMAP, watching emails come in.
Right.
They don't turn on, delete from server, so everything still stays there. They're watching as the emails come in. They watch for a transaction getting ready to happen. Everything's done now through wire transfer. They wait till they're getting ready to go to closing. Hey, guess what? We're getting ready to close. I need you to wire transfer this money. That email comes in the middle of the night. They forward that, that email's, the realtor doesn't know it came in because it came in the middle of the night. Next thing you know, the hacker has that email that comes in. They go ahead and change, the routing information on that wire transfer. Then they just resend it direct to the client as the realtor. Boom, they sit there, they get the email. There's 20 grand down the drain because it's been
And
wired.
you can't get that money back.
No, and you sit down at closing, nothing there.
Here's the thing that everybody that watches our show needs to know, because I'm a licensed realtor. If
You are
realtor,
not.
If your realtor ever sends you wire transfer information, call their broker right away. Because
Exactly.
one, we're legally not allowed to. The only person that should ever be giving you wire transfer information is the closing agent from the title company.
You know what?
That is the only person that
This was
should.
the mortgage. This was the mortgage.
Doesn't matter.
originator too, that-
The only person that
The
should
mortgage
ever,
originator never does that.
Yeah.
It always has to come
we're
from
talking.
closing
This
or
happened.
title
attorney.
company.
I remember this happened. I would say 6 to 8 years ago.
Oh, it happens all the time now. I mean, people
things
get
change
through it.
in time in those industries.
Yep.
But yes,
Yeah.
I would pick up the phone and call somebody and verify that information.
Yeah, did you
Yep.
send me this?
Yeah.
Yeah, always only
And
the
you know
title
what?
company.
You're a good mortgage person. That's what my wife does. She will call them and say, "Okay, you were just sent.
Exactly.
You were just sent these. Did you get them?"
Yep.
Right. Don't do nothing until
No.
I call you.
Right.
At least of all things. You don't want to. I mean, you can quickly wire your money to Timbuktu and never see it again. I mean,
Exactly. And
So,
then that's
do you think the
bad
breach
part
could have
about it.
come from when Microsoft bought Skype? Because Skype is a very open, bad system.
Well, according to this, Microsoft is still refusing to reveal how many accounts were affected.
So everybody was affected.
So most likely, that just means the whole shebang
once
was
you,
affected.
once you set that kind of deniability out there, yeah,
So-
everybody's
Everybody-
screwed.
they
if you've
siphoned off all of
If
it.
somebody's been trying to get into any of your
Yep.
accounts
Yep.
between January to March, and you've been noticing all these weird emails coming in, and you have an Outlook.com account, something may be happening.
So what's the liability on that? Are they picking up any liability, or are they
Yeah,
getting sued?
really,
Is that why it's out there in the news?
Later, Nicholas. He's got to go.
I don't think there would be any, of course, in their terms of service, which everybody never reads
No.
and always agrees
There's
to. at
probably
the
a
beginning.
possible deniability clause in there.
Just like when you're installing Windows 10. Even Contura says, you must agree to this in order to use Windows. And if you don't agree, well, no Windows. And she literally says that when you're installing Windows 10.
Really?
She really says
I've
it.
never heard that.
Please read, you know, the user agreement, and you need to agree to it. And, you know, if you want to use Windows, you got to agree to it. And if you don't agree to it, then no Windows. Well, that was pretty straightforward. And everybody's going to say, well, I got to agree then. You know, what, do you ever read it?
You sound like, well, even if you read it, you can't go, well, I don't want
it's
that
not
part.
like,
Mark that out.
Did you send that to your lawyer first before you agreed to use your computer?
We used to be evil back in the day because we used to put stuff in it, like 13 pages down. We'd put in it like stupid stuff, like you got to buy a Skittles every other month and stuff like that. Because people don't read it.
There was somebody that put in that had a big user agreement that they had to read and sign, and in one of them it was a contest, and at the very end, near the middle or something like that, it stated, if you do this, you will win. And I guess somebody read the whole user agreement and won this contest. I forgot all about it.
No way.
Yeah, but it was crazy. They won like a $500 gift card.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Hey, now it's really worth it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Go read your terms.
That's like back in the day, back whenever I used to do entertainment and we have to read the writers for all the bands. There was one, we were at FSU, and the kids were reading, because we were having to teach them how to do the writers and stuff for student activities.
Right.
And the band, I can't use their name, but it was the first time that they had actually had someone go through their writer and actually do every single thing that was in it. It was green M&Ms. It was a naked portrait on the table, and all this stupid stuff that they didn't even know that their manager had wrote in, because the manager wrote it in just to prove that people don't read the writers.
Right.
That all they look for is the money and what they have to have for stage concept, and that's it. And you know, people don't read the contracts. But
no, you need to. It takes time. I know sometimes everybody's in a hurry to get it done.
Right.
But you're giving up. Did you know, like, what's that 123 or something, the DNA company? They own your, if you read through it, they own your DNA. They own
your genome.
Your genome, yep.
And
That's why I'll never do a DNA test.
I don't either.
In 30 or 40 years, when they start cloning humans, they'll bring you back.
Yeah, I'll never submit to a DNA unless it's
after I started hearing and reading about that, I was like, yep, that's the end of that.
Well, and then on top of all that, you know, now they report all that to the government. So now the government's got you, and when the insurance company starts getting that, they're like, hey, you can be pre-diabetic. No, we can't take you. We'll insure you, but we will never insure you for diabetes.
Not for nothing, but
high blood pressure, whatever.
When you go to the doctor and have a blood test, and that blood work goes to the lab, you don't know what the rules and regulations of the lab and what they have to do. Maybe that every client that comes in has to have.
Well, the insurance already gets that.
Well, if I'm
the report that goes back to
if I'm a cash paying customer, you know, but what other agencies are requesting? Hey, if we can request data from Google, why can't the government request DNA data from?
Doesn't that fall under HIPAA?
Well,
well, that's just for them to release information.
They can't release information to somebody
collection
else,
of it.
But collection and giving it to the government, it's still in there because it's. So I was going to get I was going to a different place to get an X-ray, right? Yeah. And it was a flat fee, blah blah blah. Which, you know, even though I have insurance, I'd rather pay the cash. Sometimes it's just cheaper.
Isn't that the oddest thing?
And then I'll call, and I said, okay, well, you know, then I was like, well, I don't know if I really will come to you guys now because they didn't accept our insurance. I'll pay the fee because if something's seriously wrong, then, you know, I have to go get more X-rays because you won't give those X-rays. She goes, no, yeah, we own the X-rays. I said, well, you don't own anything if I'm paying for them. She goes, no, technically, you get pays a discount rate and we get to keep all the X-rays. I was like, so I don't walk out with my own X-rays? She goes, nope. I said, I don't walk them out on a thumb drive or not. She goes, no, we have it. We will give the doctor. I said, nope, never mind, thank you. She goes, huh? I said, yeah. I said, unless I own the X-rays I'm paying for,
Well, technically, they're supposed to. If you ask for your patient file from anybody that's doing anything that's medically
Well, I know
necessary,
what's supposed to happen, but
Well,
these
then
guys
obviously they've not read some of the HIPAA rules and
yeah,
stuff.
they're a little. They try to be intimidating, and
Yes.
it doesn't work with me. And I'm like, I don't think so.
Yes, as a matter of fact, you could say, I would like to purchase a thumb drive from you, and I want all my medical records installed on that thumb drive. They have to comply. Sorry, that's one of the rules. They can charge a fee for the thumb drive.
Of course they can.
They can charge a fee. It has to be a sealed, brand new package. They have to go ahead and give you that information
Right.
and hand it to you right then. If you say that you want them to email it to you and you don't have a secured email by what they think is secured, they have no choice but to send it to you.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, it has to be sent to you. You don't have to have a secured email. That's irrelevant. Their stuff has to be secure. You know, they may require you to write your email down to make sure that that's the email they did send it to.
Right.
But they can send it to, John at, GoDaddy.com. They don't care.
John at Outlook.com.
John.
There you go.
And
We all
send it
know
to the
that's safe. Yeah, man. That's
They
that's
have to
safe
send
stuff.
it. They have to send it.
They have to send it. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you wanna walk around and get all hippery, you can be like, send me my stuff in an email, and they have to comply.
That's amazing. I did not know that. Okay. Well,
That's not
so
fun.
we're all screwed now.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft said everybody's got a Microsoft account. If you got a computer, you got a Microsoft account.
Well, unless you set up a local account, which I set up all computers as a local account.
Yeah.
If you decide to turn on a Microsoft account, that's on you.
Well, so when you set up when you put your new Windows 10 in, right?
Right.
And you go over there and you have the little cloud, you have to sign up. You have to make an account.
No, if you look very closely,
You don't have to. You
don't
can
have to.
bypass all that.
You can bypass that because even though it shows that bar right there, it says you can go right below it and says I don't have one. It says so would you like to set up one? And there's a little bar that says skip this. You got to click it. You can click it. This little itty bitty thing. Then it says are you sure? But it uses reverse psychology to say are you sure? Yes or no. But it reads in a different way because now you have to say, are you sure you don't want to set up a Microsoft account? Well, you would say no normally but you have to answer yes. Yes, I don't want to set up a Microsoft account. If you don't, it reverts right back to the sign in again.
So can you get rid of the little cloudy thing on your computer then?
The cloudy thing? Yeah, you can uninstall.
I hate that stupid thing. It's always saying, because I have no idea what my freaking Microsoft was. I just thought I had that. I got to have one now. I got it. I hate that.
Yeah, it's like this.
It's not been synced in like a year.
It's like when It's like when you upgrade your iOS and it says, "Do you want to set up a password?" Login. You say, "No, I don't want to use a passcode." But then they say it in a way that makes you want to. And how many people I have do it the wrong way every upgrade and then lock themselves out of their iPhone because they thought they had to put it.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, well, I had a password." Well, it asked you for a new one.
Yeah, I broke mine, so I have a new phone, and I couldn't remember my keychain password.
That's the bad one.
That's the one I need because it stores all my passwords. So I have to go back. Now I have to log into my Apple account and go reset all that crap up.
Yeah, it's funny is when you have like a MacBook and you sit there and then somebody forgets their password and you bypass and you're able to get into it, but
you don't know the keychain.
Keychain starts popping up every time. You're like, keychain.
And it's not the same as your iTunes.
Nope.
I'm just telling you now.
That's why I stay away from the dark side.
Come over to the dark
But once you know
I'm
you're
getting closer.
good.
Write down your passwords and store them in a safe
I'm
place.
probably about a month and a half away from going to the dark side.
So, okay.
I'm scared to go.
We've got about...
I need some hand holding.
Yeah. We've got about 20 minutes, maybe 19. Is there a good, solid platform out there? And I know we didn't put this out there. We were going to talk about this, but I'm going to ask this question. Is there a good, solid platform out there that can help you remember your passwords, other than writing them down?
LastPass,
Dashlane, any of those? I mean,
but remember, you just
something like that.
Yeah,
what is it? RoboForm. Yep, $19
but remember,
a year.
Whether or not you're using a particular software, it still has vulnerability. If somebody ever gains access to that one login, now they have access to every login you own. So there's in itself.
There's this old school way It's where you get one of those little notepads and you just
Write 'em down.
Write them down, and when the 30 days is up, you take that out, you crumble it up.
Back in the day when we used Excel for projects,
Yes.
you know, like writing down things.
Yeah, but
and
the
keeping
problem
track of
is
stuff?
if you can't get in that laptop that's got your Excel, it doesn't really
It
matter.
doesn't help you.
Print
But if you
it!
have that little paper,
Yeah,
right,
physically write
'em
it down.
I hate to
Armanda
say it,
says
but
hello. Hey, guys.
I got to
Jeremy
the
do
point.
que pas.
I got to the point.
Oh,
where I
yeah,
have so many
key
in my
pass. Yeah, I
house.
heard of that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
No,
I don't know. I
There's
just
tons. There's tons. There's a lot
I
of
know, and you're like, oh, this one's better than this one, and then there's one that's a thumb drivey thing, and I guess it works from your Bluetooth or something like that. You set it next to your whatever you're doing.
Signal.
But I have old computers that are not Bluetooth. So.
Signal is a way of doing it, and they have it to where it's a randomized. So, in other words, you put a piece of software on your computer, and the Signal piece it generates. It's like a keychain piece that
Right.
you put on your keychain. And what happens is when you push the button, they're both in sync. The software on the computer.
And how does it do that? Bluetooth or
and
Wi-Fi?
It's not. They're not even connected. They're going back to a server and they're synced. So in other words, when the software is calculating and running, the numerical numbers are changing at the same time. So when you hit the button, you have so many seconds to read it, type it in.
Okay,
and
what if
then
you don't
go
have
in.
Wi-Fi?
It's still the software is going and syncing it. They're going to be in
If they
sync. They're
can't
always
see
in sync.
each other,
Doesn't matter because they're always going to be in sync with each other. Don't ask me how they do it, but they do it. I mean, it's Sentinel. It's very high end. It's very expensive, but it's how like all your FAA, all your airlines, all your HIPAA compliance, all your big breached data centers. All of them use those kind of
generating
servers.
a new hash each time, and then
Yes.
it'd have to be syncing through Bluetooth
Yeah.
or something to the device. But
that would almost be frustrating. Because what
it would be
if
frustrating,
they
but
go
you try to
down?
be safe.
Yeah, but
But
what
it's,
if they
it's
go
very
down?
secure.
But what if they go down?
It's still the software inside of your computer. It's doing that mathematical equation,
But
that
if it
algorithm.
sends
and
it to
this.
the server, and the server goes down,
Right. You
But
can't
it doesn't have to because the redundancies in the
we
software.
always have to go back to the piece of paper.
I'm telling you
Yeah.
that it
It's
looks to me
very
like pen and
high-end, but
paper
it's
is
pen and paper is the best way.
maybe just the way to do it from now
Unless
on.
your house catches a fire. Or
Yeah,
your
I like
office.
when I go out to some of my clients, and I say, "Do you know your password?"
All right, Jeremy said Yubico is a cheap alternative to multi-factor authentication available to the public. I've never heard of Yubico.
Never heard of it.
I'm
I'll have to look it up.
I'm going to save that one to a
See what it is.
Well, here we all going on to Yubico.
Yubico. Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay.
I love it when people give us good information. It means people are watching. Armin says, "Hey."
Either that, or they're staring at us.
This is why I have James. I don't have to worry about this stuff. We get breached.
Your
I can
key
yell
to
at
the
him.
safer internet. Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty snazzy.
Snickery-doo.
Snickers.
Snickers.
Oh,
Eat a
I'm
Snickers.
hungry.
They are expensive, though. The Sentinel is very expensive. But it's
Well-
how much security do you want? I mean, what are you willing to pay for?
Depends on whether or not you wear an aluminum foil hat or not.
I have a triangle hat, not an aluminum foil hat. I don't want anybody reading what's in here.
Not for nothing, but I did have a client that did that, and they really came into the store, and
Wearing the hat?
and then not only that, she
Dude, I'm telling you.
not only that did she every
Oh.
time her computer did an update,
Yeah.
to like say it went
Did it
it was
update
a
her?
Windows XP. It went from Service Pack 2 to Service Pack 3.
Right.
And then obviously it changes some registry
Yeah.
files, and she was digging in the registry, seeing changes and flipping out, saying they got my computer, they hacked it again, they're in it, I need a refund now. I'm like,
Wow.
You're like, if you won't ever come back, I will definitely give you a refund.
You can't ever come back and see us.
Yeah, I was, listening this weekend to the news and stuff like that, because talking about all this with the data breaches and everything.
yeah.
How much have we given up in our lives for the ease of use, as far as our privacy and
tons.
everything? I mean, It's just crazy. What technology is good, but also it's demoralizing.
You know what's bad is our personal computers, just because we're using the World Wide Web, has now opened us up to the fact that all our personal information on it is now public.
Yeah.
It's just like everything that you're doing is out there.
I don't have no privacy anymore.
I don't think unless you don't have a computer and you don't have a phone and you don't have cable TV and you don't have, then there's no such thing as privacy anymore.
No, there's not.
I mean, for anybody. I don't care who you are.
Google search your name.
Yep.
You'll be surprised.
I don't
all
come
the
up.
services out
I'm
there.
dead. I don't exist.
I don't come up either.
Except for my LinkedIn rant.
There was a company. I'll research it for the next time. That
We'll do it right now.
I fought with, that had putting information out there. There wasn't. It was. I just don't want my information out there, and they had it out there, and you had to put in a request to have it removed. And their first thing they said was, "Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that, James."
Why not?
They tried to say that their information was gathered from all public arenas. Okay, well, that's fine. But you're taking it all from different public arenas and compiling it on your site. So don't play me with that. Remove it. And they ended up complying because I had to answer both times very strongly before they said, "Not a problem. Here it is. The profile was removed."
Hey, look, I'm an old guy.
You're an old guy?
No, it's just, but it's like, TrueFinder.com. If you look up, they'll show all of your traffic tickets. They'll show anything that you've ever done, which is ridiculous. I mean, why do we need that information on the web?
I'm only showing up once,
but
and I'm on the third page.
But that goes,
I'm a doctor.
So we don't have any privacy anymore. But also think about technology in the way of what we've been looking at with Amazon and stuff like that. We've talked about this a couple times, but we never really got into the mom and pop side of it.
Yeah.
Right? We're killing off all of the small mom and pop businesses. We're killing off retail stores with online. But when do we see technology coming to a point to where that becomes a hold and society says, you know what? I miss the engagement. I miss the being able to touch and feel it before I buy it.
I think there is a small turning point that's starting to happen. I think there's a lot of people are starting to miss that, in personal engagement and being able to get the stuff, right now. There's a niche. I mean, if there wasn't a niche, for instance, in our field, with repairing computers, fixing them, everybody says, oh, there's that's all going away. They're just going to be there. Well, no, they're not, because you wouldn't see the big box stores opening up and doing what they do. There's always going to be somebody needed to repair the technology.
Right.
I think
it's not foolproof.
I think the big box stores have missed an opportunity to where, I think Marcus Simona said it the best whenever he was talking about Toys R Us, right? Toys R Us could have been the online mega store. Plus, they could have kept their stores in relevancy by doing more with letting kids interact with the toys, having them as, okay, you can go order online, but come in and see if you like it, see the durability of it. And I think Walmart's kind of going that way now, because every one of their stores is now a warehouse.
Everybody rides around on bicycles in Walmart and plays with the balls. So.
I do.
But
I have fun.
It's as we keep losing the mom and pop businesses and stuff like that. We don't get that information when we go buy something, because okay, like you go to B&H online to buy video pieces. Right. Fortunately, you have the education to back it, but the average consumer goes to B&H, they buy that camera, and now they bought it. There's a million bells and whistles on it that you don't have someone like, Annette and her husband down at Pasco Camera sitting there showing you, hey, this is how you do this with it. And, oh, did you know it has this feature? And look how easy it is to do this.
Right.
You're not getting that. Yes, we can go to YouTube, but okay, I don't understand it on YouTube. How many videos am I going to have to go through before I understand it?
Right.
To where he can say, Adam, I don't understand this. And you say, okay, let me show you, and let me show you the right way.
There is a company that has combined technology and online to bring clients physically into the stores. That company is a company in Ireland.
Pointy.
Huh?
Pointy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I there it is.
Pointy.
And
What,
I
now,
really,
what do they do?
They use Bluetooth technology.
Yeah. Well, their device is a little cellular device, and you take your scan gun and plug it into the USB port on the device, and then you have the other end plugs into your point of sale. But the whole point is, if you resell products like, for instance, the hard drives, things that I sell in the store, you scan the UPC, and what it does is it uploads to a Pointy page that is driven by Google to your store.
Is that like the BeLocal?
Kind of, but it's a very it's very integrated with the e-commerce side. So it's what's in store. It's like, okay, this is what's in real time in my store right now. If you don't want to go to Amazon and buy it, you can literally walk into my store and I have this today.
Right.
It's real-time data.
It's not an online store because you can't purchase it from the storefront.
It just says, hey, this is what I've got. Come in and buy it.
This is what I got.
It gives all the data about that product.
And we're located so that way it can drive business to the physical retail location.
So if I'm online looking and I'm in that area,
right,
the geo targets me for that area.
Correct.
It's not like I'm driving down the road and my phone goes, "Hey, look what I've got inside."
No.
Okay.
Basically, if somebody looks for something in that, like Samsung solid state,
okay,
and we had it at one point, and we scanned it, that UPC, then we show up in relevancy along with Amazon and all the web stores that would normally you would be having to purchase from.
And it actually reads your POS to tell if you have it in stock right this second.
So it reads your piece of shit?
Well, what it says,
it says, hey, dude, your shit ain't good. Come get this.
See, and it says store stock status. Okay, our system shows that this product is in stock. If you would like to buy it, you'll find directions to the shop below. Occasionally, there may be mistakes with stock information. So confirm your availability by calling our store.
Oh, okay.
So it's more about driving
and it's not expensive at all.
That's nice. Oh,
to
that's
the
cool.
location.
For the average user, I want to say it's like what? It's not even $49.95 a month, is it?
No, there is no charge per month.
There's one fee for the thing,
one fee for the
right?
device, and that's it.
I thought they were going to a subscription base, but
not unless you decide to utilize Google's What's in Store and then link it to your Google. Basically, it's like Google AdWords.
Okay.
So they have that option, but if you buy the device one time, then you have the page. It'll link to your.
Okay, so this can be used anywhere.
Yeah, it's any even like the convenience store.
Not just Ireland.
No, even like the convenience store down the road can use it to show all the stacks and stuff they have in the store. It's crazy.
And the fun thing is they don't have to put in any information about the product. They just do what they normally do for the day. The product comes to the counter, they go to ring it out, they scan it, scan.
Okay.
While they're scanning, their point of sale is doing what it's supposed to do, but in the background, it's uploading those UPC codes to Pointy, and then Pointy is going, their web guys are going up there and looking up their product, they're finding the stock photos, they're adding it to your page, and putting in the content information for it.
Oh, that's cool.
You're not doing nothing. You just do and run your business like you'd normally do.
But how much does it cost?
The last time I knew, it was $3.99, if I'm not mistaken.
One-time fee.
One time. Yeah.
Yearly?
No.
And they do have a
one-time buy.
One-time buy.
And then there's a subscription to where you can do some other stuff with it.
Yeah, if you want to do the AdWords part, then they'll give you. I think they give you $100 AdWords credit, and if you want to run that, you can. If not, you don't have to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, for a retailer.
Yeah.
If for somebody who doesn't want to be involved in the physical aspect of trying to do anything, and you want the ease of use and not having to upload content and stuff, it's just.
Here's the thing: it's another avenue for you to be reached online.
Could it be
It's
could it be
another
good for a restaurant and bar?
It only works with businesses that use UPCs, regular UPCs from products. So say you
toy store, comic book store,
and you
like
can't
that.
use your own barcodes.
UPC. You have to use the manufacturers.
You have to use registered UPCs.
All right, that makes sense.
Now you can go get your own registered UPCs. You just have to pay for them and register them. But yeah, it's a good product. I mean, but and the thing about it is, it's another domain out there talking about your business.
Right.
That's pushing authority
what
to
you
you.
need. Yeah. The more you can get your business out there on different domains, different locations, your business name out there, the bigger your company looks, the better your company looks.
Right.
you know.
Keep building out your web rings. That's what
Exactly.
you got to do, your WC3s.
Dang.
So-
All right. Well, guess what? We've got how much we got time we got, Rob? 2.5 minutes?
2.5 minutes.
Wow, that went quick.
So have you bought any new tech? Any new toys?
No, I've been looking at a lot. I have been looking at new cameras. I can't wait for June because Infocom's coming. So when we get back,
Are we going?
Huh?
All of us going?
We can.
All right, let's go. We should do a show from there.
Where's there?
Not sure they'd let me. We should.
We could even shoot it on the fly.
Yeah, we could use our phones.
Yes, there we go.
There you go. But we could go and we could actually interview each other.
Mm-hmm.
So because I didn't get to go to NAB because it fell right in the middle of April and we're in a massive amount of shoots here. So yeah, so Infocom is coming in June. We are going to go over. We'll take our phones. We'll take all our cool little sticks. Matter of fact, I might call our past shaman to see if I can use his. I really like his because someone else has got my my float stick, so my gimbal. And we'll just see what's going on there. I know I'm going to go look for cameras and I'm looking for microphones. My biggest things for us is always lights, cameras, and microphones.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we use the most. You know,
I like stuff.
stuff is good, man. Stuff is good. You know, and I know some of the new cameras coming out are smaller. They're solid. You know, and they're still 3/4 inch glass and. Because we don't shoot anything half or lower. Everything's either half or better. We're 3/4 here, so you know it just gives you a little more, more TV look. So, all right. With that being said, if you got any questions, text Shamans at webeamtv.com. I did have a question that we did not get. We'll get back to it next week about blue screening. Why is it happening so much lately? So, I know exactly. With that being said, everybody. We will see you guys next Monday live. Make sure you watch us Thursday at 11 o'clock. This is going to be a rerun. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
We got the plans cause we are the tech shamans. We understand cause we are the tech shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into